So there's, I don't know if it's actually going to happen or has happened or what, but Mr. Musk is talking about getting rid of the block feature on Twitter. Have you seen this?
I've seen it. I don't interact on Twitter, so I haven't had to use the block feature. I really just post my videos and that's it. So I haven't had to block anybody, or I haven't used the feature.
Well, he didn't really explain what he was thinking, but he said it makes no sense. So we're probably going to get rid of it, or it'll only be used for DMs, I think he said. And my first thought was like, well, I could definitely see myself if somebody started just kind of like atting me all the time on Twitter or on X or whatever. And I just didn't want to I didn't want to show up. I didn't want to get tagged in their replies or in their comments, especially for the purposes of I don't want whoever they're broadcasting to then also now put the spotlight on me. But I agree with Elon in the sense that it's already this very open public platform, probably too much so, where everybody can contact everybody without any kind of authorization. But I can see why you'd at least want to be no, you're not, this person's not allowed to tag me. And I also can understand why you'd want to be logged in and mute somebody because you're curating your own experience. So if there's a way to mute somebody and stop them from putting you in their ats, then that seems fair. But at that point, that's called the block feature.
That's called block feature.
I don't know why
you're renaming it, maybe. Yeah.
And that reminded me of, I was thinking, all this business about Nielsen ratings and the writers wanting to see what the studios are making on each project and all this, and it being a black box intentionally. And, at least with box office numbers that always got reported and we were always able to measure these things.
Oh, man, I was thinking I'd love to see streaming numbers. That would be so.
It'd be great.
I want to see Rings of Power, exactly how many people watched it.
Yeah, tell me the truth.
Tell me the truth.
But I was thinking, it's really interesting that there's, they got rid of the dislike button on YouTube. It's interesting that there's never been a campaign, or there's never been much discussion about getting rid of the view counts and sub counts on YouTube. I mean, of course you can hide them, I think. But it's interesting that the culture of YouTube, when you watch, whenever you watch any YouTube video, almost certainly you look at the view count. It's one of the ways that you assess what you're watching. It's one of the ways you measure it on it. It's a credibility measure to some degree. When we were in the really low view count and the really low sub count, that alone made people, dismiss us out of hand. It's a nothing channel. And as you get more numbers, I don't know, your points get better. the points you can get better.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing that the platform
more attractive and more insightful.
It's interesting that the platform has continued to allow viewers to view through that framework, but it is admittedly kind of useful to know, is anybody else engaging with this? Does anybody else find this interesting? Where is this popular in any way? And then that made me think, isn't it funny how one of the things we always look at is, when a major trailer for a major movie or TV show drops, you look at the views. And that's one of the few ways that we can measure interest in a project. You'll never know what Ahsoka did for numbers, but you can at least look at the trailer numbers on YouTube.
Yes.
And that if Disney could, they would fucking stop that shit. They would prohibit it because they don't want you to even see that. They certainly don't want to be dislike bombed. They get rid of that,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Probably because of corporations like Disney and Joe Biden. But,
Netflix didn't have view counts, but it did have its own ratings. So it was allowing viewers to notice that some of their content sucks. And
right. They did. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So they got rid of that.
Yeah. Because there was star reviews first, right?
Right.
You could see how many stars out of 5. And yeah, I guess they hid all that.
Wouldn't it be interesting if you went to a Disney Plus video and right underneath the monitor, you saw how many views it had?
Yeah. Or
just straight, it's just YouTube.
I saw a star rating.
Yeah. Here's the rating. It sucks. And no one's watched it. And you just be like, oh man, it's like a new release.
Yeah.
But that's kind of that's what you get on YouTube.
I love it. I wish.
That'd be wild.
That would be awesome.
Imagine if it had that level of confidence in what it was. You could almost imagine Amazon doing it because it's just such a dumping ground of shit. They'd just be like, I don't know, whatever. As long as you're here, we're happy.
Yeah. But yeah, maybe the writer strike. Maybe they'll be like, you have to have a star rating underneath.
That'd be great. Hey, writers.
I'll be totally into the writer strike if they get a star rating underneath Disney Plus shows.
We have an idea for negotiations.
View count, likes, dislike.
The YouTubeization of streaming.
Oh, I love it. Give it to me. Give it to me, mama.
Or at least let me have a sketchy Chrome plugin that will show it to me.
Yeah, how's that work? Does that work by everybody who has the plugin? And then they extrapolate out from that sample? Or?
No, I think, well, because you can still click dislike. And then the plugin just literally, it's still being tallied. They're just hiding it on the website. Like, YouTube didn't go through great pains to make it so a developer couldn't show
okay.
you.
So, because my guess was that they actually did hide it completely.
Like remove it from the page. No, I think it's probably like commented out, and
you think, okay.
And the Chrome plugin. But you know what you could do though, in all seriousness. But it would take a lot of adoption. That's the problem. But you could make a Chrome plugin that's like the YouTubeization of Disney Plus. And for everybody who watches it in Chrome anyway, or something, you could be like, you could pop up a little like or dislike and it could at least show like how many people watched it who have the plugin. It'd be useless data because nobody would use it because everybody's watching on Roku's and on mobile apps. But we need some kind of metadata.
Yeah. Well, I would do it and then I would make up an algorithm that would just make up something.
Yeah.
Subscribe to Red Cow Entertainment on Patreon for full episodes every other week.